Argentina have done it. Lionel Messi has done it. Argentina are the world champions, and Lionel Messi has ended the debate. He was the greatest, he is the greatest, and he always will be the greatest player in the history of football. What's up, coolers, and welcome back to Barca Dream Team, and today we're going to be covering the FIFA World Cup final. Lionel Messi's Argentina have come out on top. We're discussing the key players, moments, and how Argentina have won the World Cup. We hope you'll subscribe and hit that notification bell, and let's get started. But first, let's take a look at the team selection. The France lineup was very much as we expected, with Rabiot coming back in to start. But then the big decision was Lionel Scaloni opting to go for a back four, and straight away, guys, I thought that's a huge risk. He's obviously placed a huge amount of trust into that right-hand side of Molina and Romero to be able to nullify Mbappe's threat. I was honestly thinking that Scaloni would stick with a back three, a system which he's used before, and it proved for the most part to be a defensively solid system against the Netherlands. But no, Scaloni stuck with the back four, and that meant that Angel Di Maria came into the lineup as well. Again, that felt a bit strange to me to just throw Di Maria into the World Cup final like that. Felt like a moment of madness there from Scaloni. I think with the injuries he's had, it seemed a bit much to throw him into a final, and that too against France. And Enzo Fernandez had the huge responsibility of nullifying Griezmann's threat. He's really been an important figure for France, his importance to them higher than ever before.
Argentina started the strongest, and on 23 minutes they were rewarded with a penalty when Ousmane Dembele brought down Angel Di Maria. And up steps Messi and fires Argentina into a 1-0 lead, very confidently rolling it past Hugo Lloris, who went the wrong way.
And after the goal, you could see the panic on the faces of the French players to concede so early in the World Cup final. At that point, Giroud and Mbappe were really trying to pin back Molina on that right-hand side, which was effective in stopping his bursting forward runs. But that meant that Antoine Griezmann had to take a much more advanced position on the field, almost playing as a second striker to Giroud. That meant that Argentina had the numerical advantage in midfield. And Alexis MacAllister was able to switch over to this right-hand side, and he caused all sorts of problems, linking up with Messi and De Paul. And that actually led to the second goal, and Messi slipped in the Brighton man, and he gets past Theo Hernandez and plays a lovely ball across to Angel Di Maria there, who just dinks it over Hugo Lloris. And Didier Deschamps was quick to make his substitutions. Ousmane Dembele and Giroud made way for Randall, Kolo Muani and Marcus Thuram. And that made all the difference because they took up much more supporting positions, allowing Mbappe to burst forward and Griezmann to drop back into midfield.
Well, that's right, because Argentina doubled their advantage after that swift counter-attack. Angel Di Maria, who I have to say had an outstanding game, fired in a fantastic goal across the diving French goalkeeper. Argentina lead 2-0 and look in complete control. What a first half for the Albiceleste. Surely there would be no coming back for the French. But then on the 67th minute, the game took a massive turn. Otamendi makes a completely rash challenge, bringing down Randall Kolo Muani, and the referee immediately points to the spot. He didn't have a single shot on goal up until then, but you can never rule out Kylian Mbappe. He stepped up confidently and scored, giving France hope. And that was the momentum that the French needed. Argentina just seemed to take their foot off the gas, and literally 97 seconds later, it was that man Mbappe again who fired an absolute rocket of a volley past Emiliano Martinez, levelling the score at 2-2 and sending the French fans into a frenzy. It's at that point that we all thought, here we go again. Are Argentina going to throw away a 2-goal advantage, just like they did against the Netherlands? As the game went into extra time, and with the French in the ascendancy, doubt started to creep in. But then, on 108 minutes, Lautaro Martinez's shot is saved by Lloris, and who else but Lionel Messi charges in to force the ball past the line, and there was nothing that Jules Koundé could do about it. Everyone, including Messi and the Argentina players and the millions of fans around the world, thought that was the winner. Surely there was no coming back now. But there was another twist in this epic final. France is awarded yet another penalty following a Montiel handball, and once again Mbappe made no mistake from the spot to level the match at 3-3. What a final! France and Mbappe were not beaten yet. Despite Mbappe's hat-trick, which was the first one in a World Cup final for 56 years, this amazing final went right down to the wire and a penalty shootout. Mbappe scored first, and then Lionel Messi, in the game of his life, stepped up with absolute confidence and slotted past Hugo Lloris, with the Argentinian fans behind the goal going absolutely crazy. Kingsley Coman then steps up to take the next spot kick, and Emiliano Martinez makes a big save to deny the French from taking the lead. And then, in another dramatic turn, Tchouaméni puts his penalty wide. But Gonzalo Montiel made no mistake as he sent Hugo Lloris the wrong way to seal an historic 4-2 win for Argentina in the most dramatic match we've ever seen. Lionel Messi, the greatest player of all time, is on top of the world. And I can only imagine how heartbreaking it was for Mbappe. He was shattered at the full-time whistle. He's already a superstar, but today was Messi's day. I'm sure he'll have plenty of opportunities because this guy has a bright future. But Messi is the greatest of all time.
And the first man I want to talk about is Lionel Scaloni. He really does deserve a lot of praise. He's really instilled so much character into this Argentina side, and that's only credit to his managerial abilities. He's grabbed this group of players by the scruff of their necks and really dragged them from the failures of the last World Cup into one of the world's elite national teams. He was actually a former teammate of Lionel Messi, and at the time of his appointment, he was part of Jorge Sampaoli's backroom staff. He was only supposed to be in charge for the short term until a replacement could be found, but it's fair to say that Scaloni exceeded the expectations of the Argentina Football Federation. And it all started in the Copa America. Argentina were massive underdogs against Brazil, but they really did rise to the occasion. And the same could be said in El Finalissima against the European champions Italy. And flash forward to this edition of the World Cup, and that shock defeat to Saudi Arabia had to hurt. But you could never write off Argentina. Scaloni's really made this team tick. He's reinstilled that hunger, that desire to hit back when they're down. You look back to that match against the Netherlands and the final itself. That desire to come back is something that requires a lot of spirit. And he's shown that he's not afraid to give youth players a chance too. Enzo Fernandez and Alexis MacAllister have been two revelations in this World Cup. They've snatched their opportunity with both hands and have really been the engine in Argentina's midfield. Speaking of Alexis MacAllister, he's a really important piece of that Argentina midfield puzzle. He's someone who can drive forward like we saw in the Di Maria goal, and he's not afraid to take that responsibility on. He'll take risks, he'll try and take on his man, he'll try and take shots from outside the box. And I think it's rare to see those qualities in a player nowadays. Sometimes players can become overcoached and they stop taking these kinds of calculated risks. But managers have to leave certain things to the players so they can decide the best option. And I think that's the case with MacAllister. Scaloni's clearly giving him the freedom to make those choices, and that's the sign of a great manager. And when it comes to Enzo Fernandez, he's shown he can be trusted to break up the play. He made a number of key challenges to stop dangerous French counters the other night. He's playing in Spain at the minute, but he could really make the step up to one of Europe's elite sides following an excellent World Cup campaign. Of course, he won the Young Player of the Tournament award as well, and that must have been tough. He was likely competing with the likes of Jude Bellingham, Bukayo Saka, and our very own golden boy Gavi. The next player I want to talk about is Emiliano Martinez. What a character he is, guys. He's really become a cult hero for Argentines with his penalty shootout heroics and clever, borderline illegal tactics. He's a player who's become a real leader at the back, and what a story too. He's had to bide his time, but his time is now. That last-ditch save against Kolo Muani's effort is something that will go down as one of the greatest saves in the history of the World Cup finals. He kept Argentina in with the chance and dragged them over the line to the penalty shootout. And I want to now move on to Rodrigo De Paul. He's another diamond emerging from Italy's Udinese. He's now at Atletico Madrid, and he really is the physical embodiment of tenacity, drive, and passion. He'll throw his body in there, and he doesn't mind a scrap. He's a really physical player, and he knows exactly how to gain the advantage over his opponents. You could see the mind games between him and Theo Hernandez in the first half. He's an absolute warrior, and his tactical fouls really help to break down the play and stop counterattacks from Les Bleus. And when you watch him, it's easy to notice the amount of unselfish running he does. He's an absolute motor, zipping around the whole pitch in defence and in attack. He's a real asset to this Argentina side, and he brings a lot of physicality to the young midfield. And to be honest, as a Barca fan, I see glimpses of Gavi in his performances. That same hunger and desire, but also De Paul seems to have a bit more control of the fire burning inside him. He really is excellent at reading the game. And then what about Angel Di Maria? He's had an injury-riddled campaign, let's be honest. But he's not one to shy away from a big occasion. He scored in both the Copa America and World Cup finals, and what a finish it was the other night. And he really did set the tone in the first half, linking up the play. He was a creative outlet against France, winning the penalty and then receiving that ball from MacAllister. He buried it past Hugo Lloris, bobbling it into the floor to take it clear of the Tottenham Hotspur captain. He's a long-term teammate of Messi too, and he can really leave the Argentina national team with his head held high. And now I want to take the opportunity to mention Sergio Aguero. Us Barca fans know only too well how saddening his retirement was, but it's great to see him heavily involved with the Argentina national team, albeit as more of a fan than a player. But he's never really separated himself from the Albi Celeste. He's always giving guidance to them in the dressing room, and it was great to see him join in with the celebrations. Finally, we have to talk about Lionel Messi, guys, because for me, he was always the GOAT. He didn't need to win the World Cup to prove that. Messi didn't need to prove anything to anyone. He set the standard for what is possible in the world's greatest game over a period of nearly 17 years. But you could really see the desire from Messi to secure this title. The World Cup seems to have eluded him over his whole career, but he's won it now, and you could see the pure joy in his eyes. But not just joy, you could see the relief. You could see that a large weight had been lifted off his shoulders. To win the World Cup was his childhood dream, and you could see a culmination of all that determination throughout his career to win something with Argentina. He really did leave everything out on the pitch in what must have been a really physically draining game. But the image of him lifting the World Cup is something that will be engraved into the minds of all football fans. Sometimes a picture says 1,000 words, and Messi's World Cup triumph left all football fans speechless. To see him lift the World Cup is the perfect way for him to cap off a largely successful international career, and Messi's won the only tournament he has not yet conquered. Surely this World Cup triumph has to lead to an 8th Ballon d'Or, and surely ends the debate. Messi is the greatest football player of all time.
Let us know your thoughts in the comments, guys. Tell us how you felt watching Messi finally lift the World Cup trophy. So if you like this video, guys, make sure to hit that notification bell, subscribe to BDT, and we'll see you next time. Visca el Barça y Visca Leo Messi!